haven't been getting up as early as I would have liked to. And honestly, I've probably been procrastinating a fair bit as well. I think it's because I'm a little bit scared. I've got a lot of plans musically, but I just don't want to mess them up. You and I both know it's about consistency. So perhaps it'll feel a bit tedious, but this morning I'm going to hash out some music, even if I don't totally enjoy the final result. I love music, but sometimes it feels like a little bit of a slog. It's repetitive. I don't know, it's weird. Maybe my frame of reference is the problem, but also maybe making art is boring sometimes. Maybe it is repetitive. It doesn't have to always be this super exciting, magical thing. Let's start with some chords, something to reflect the emotional time, something the listener can feel, but also something that works well as a theme and variation for the song. So a very quantized chord progression that I've created here. We're in the key of B minor, 2 synth sounds, something brighter on top with a sine sitting below. I think I want a drone underneath this, something that pulsates and stays there throughout. I'm going to find sections of this to then re-pitch in the auto shift, mainly just to use the formant. I've been using this technique a lot just to get new tones out of a melodic structure. It doesn't have to be a vocal. I'll EQ that, and then on the top, I'm going to have this synth pad chord. But what I'm going to do is really stretch it out. I think we'll loop that over with some crowd noise. Hearing that string in there. I think that works really, really lovely. And then to make everything a little bit more subtle, we're going to add the EQ8. We're going to have Kickstart 2, which creates more of a bounce. And then OTT. But of course, we turn these layers down. They're just for your benefit. They're going to sit really quietly in the back. Gorgeous. You know what it is? It's the practice and the process and actually thinking about doing the thing. This I actually like. I don't always know what I'm doing, but this moment right here, just sitting, creating, once I'm in the flow state, that's pretty special. I don't know. So maybe that's the whole point though, to practice gratitude. Not many people get to do this, what I'm doing. I can pay my bills, the heating is on, I'm fed, and I'm doing it making music. And that's actually pretty mental. So yeah, maybe, yeah, wow. I'm appreciative of it. I think that's the point. I need to reframe my perspective and practice gratitude. And I'm grateful that we have these chords here to create our bass notes. What I've done is just create a respace patch, which I'll play in a second, to sit underneath my chords. And what I'm doing is just removing all of the highest notes of our chords so that our bass can sit underneath. Also added a little piano chord there as well, just to help us out. Now, drums, I don't want them to be too rigid, but they need to be delicate because this is a softer sound after all. Okay, I'm really going to spill the tea on drum arrangement and sound selection now. This is something that really saves me time. Use a reference track, and that will help you understand what's going to make or break the groove of this track. We've got something that's really delicate and soft above. Even if I get that the right volume, got a very particular sound. It's a little bit too rigid. Now, of course, I could have spent a lot of time crafting that beat, grabbing one shot after one shot. But if I take another drum reference, ooh, it's got a completely different vibe, but it's not as delicate as I want it to be. So what I'm going to do first is just get it into the right pitch. This helps me choose one shots that are going to be sonically in keeping. And then I'm going to take the transients down. See how they become really soft? They're almost just like clicks and pops. So now all that I have to do is populate my page with similar one-shots, continuing to reference these drums. The first thing that I'm going to look for is a little hi-hat or shaker pattern. So I've chopped up and resampled this shaker. But using the glue compressor on the mastering catch peaks preset allows some of these transients to just be ducked ever so slightly. I use vocoder to add a little bit of brightness to this sound, and then the phase guitar phaser preset to add a little bit of movement over the rate of 4 bars. I'm going to turn that way down in the mix and then introduce my next hi-hat pattern. This little device we're going to come back to at the end of the video. I think you're going to really dig it. I'm using this Comma Rebby Future Garage kind of sample. Just a little bit of EQ. And that's, of course, staying really low in the mix with this hi-hat. So let's choose the rest of our one-shots. So I've got about 6 sounds here that are all mixed and mastered and sounding lovely, so I've only done a bit of basic EQ or pitching. Now, because that matches what my reference track is doing, I can now delete that from my grid, and I'm left with this. Oh, I really like that. This is available at the Patreon, by the way. Let me know if I should finish it off and maybe release it. Yeah, so I think that's what I need to focus on. How wild all of this actually is. It's proper easy to take it for granted. I'm very thankful, for sure. And I've had fun this morning. Now we're in the flow state. I've had a lot of fun. And this is where it gets even better. The arrangement. Of course, I've got my standard atmospheric sounds, risers, reverse cymbals, crashes, impact sounds. But I'm also basically automating this piece throughout as well. I want my synths to kind of modulate and grow organically throughout the piece. I want my respace to growl in different areas. Check this out. So it's rumbling, and then we have these little moments where it grows in terms of its harmonic saturation. With my sine keys, I'm changing the FM throughout as well, so they become a little bit more hollow and plucked. With my synth track, I'm going to continue to expand upon the EQ and change its peak in different places, so that you'll hear more or less of certain harmonics. You'll like this one too. I got this device a couple of years ago. It allows you to modulate the warp modes in the simpler device, which is great for opening the hi-hat throughout this piece. So I'll turn it up so you can hear it. We're using the Holt sampler transient device, which just starts to affect the envelope here. So we're going to hear more and more of that open hi-hat. Yeah. And it grows darker with the EQ at the same time. I also made sure to make use of that auto shift throughout the piece as well. So as we're hearing that vocal kind of grow, we're also changing the format. So it kind of has a darker sound or a brighter sound as well. I might create like an arpeggiated thing just for when it drops. if we need a vocal? You let me know if I ruin it. Most of the time, I spend my time worrying about doing the thing. And if I was to just start the thing, like I did today, I start to remember just how fun it is each and every time. And yeah, that's pretty special, but let's see how this turned out. Tell me where I ruined this piece of music, because I might have added one too many things. Just quickly before we jump back into things, I want to thank DistroKid for sponsoring this video. They have a whole host of tools to help network and market your musical material. You've heard me talk about Playlister before, but what about the Wheel of Playlists? Just by playing the Wheel of Playlists, you can get your music in front of tens of thousands of people. If you want to save money on your first year, then just visit the affiliate link in the description below. It's also a great way to support the show. Let's get back to it. I heard a song once that had like just a rhythmic click over the top, and I think I'm gonna throw that into the second drop. So there we have it, guys. I really do think this week was all about reframing my perspective and being grateful. I don't know if you've ever had a similar experience where you just need to remind yourself, hey, buddy, you get to do this on a laptop in the warmth of your own home, and any idea that comes to your head, you can make on that page. It really was an experience that kind of reignited that hunger in my stomach. So I hope you enjoyed this fly on the wall look. As always, the project is over at the Patreon if you want to dive deeper into things. I'm working on a new device over there as well. Let me know if you want me to finish this up and get it on streaming platforms. And shout out to Certain, who's got the new theme tune for our outro. He was the winner of our last beat battle. Head over to the Discord so you can find out how you can get your music in future episodes as well. Thanks so much for swinging by, and I'll see you next time.